And no one, I've been coaching since I was 18. So that's 18 years I've been coaching all sports. And I never have worked with a guy who has loved and cared for his kids more than Coach Marshall. I promise you that. And so everything he has done has been out of love, his fearless leadership through tough times, through losing brothers and things like that. He's led us through, helped you guys unleash your potential, and has led us to what you see on the table here. So let's give it up with great love, Coach Marshall.
This mask get hot. Let's give it up one more time for the state champs, y'all. Let's give it up one more time. Families, get loud. Like, this is really rare. Like, I really like graduation with the horns rocking. So if you feel something and you feel good about it, honk the horn. Do what you gotta do. So that's what I'm talking about. I didn't need to look. That was Marquise's mom. I didn't need to look. First of all, you've been here for the longest with him, so I understand. First of all, I make jokes about talking a lot all the time, but we won a ring, and I got some stuff to say, so y'all better buckle up so that we can get ready to go here. First of all, I want to thank all the families for being in attendance. Honestly, this vastly exceeded even my expectations. I want to especially thank the families of seniors who oversaw them coming back for these special moments. That really means a lot. I know that that's not easy. I know that when you've got kids who are hours away from home, for them to come back, that means a lot. So thank you so much for that. I also want to thank our managers and specifically Mr. Boyd. That should get a lot of praise, absolutely. The team knows this, and I'm not someone that ever shies away from saying this. Mr. Boyd is as much a part of this program as anyone here. And us being able to go to different events, us being able to go to amazing places, to experience the highest level of competition is not possible without him. So they should definitely get a lot of praise with managers as well being in that group. And then finally, and I'm hoping this group is the loudest, the players. We did it. I mean, all of your struggle, all of your sacrifice, all of the different things that you had to endure and go through, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But right now, just look here to my left. All the goals that you set in place to shatter the paradigms of what can happen being from Henderson, being an athlete here, you did it. And you should be extremely proud of that. So really great job. I'm very proud of both of you guys. All of you guys, excuse me, not both of you, just all of you guys. So what I want to start with here is just understanding something just straight off the bat. Quarantine has been tough. It's been really hard for this program. It's been challenging for any number of ways related to the coronavirus, challenging with all the racial turmoil that's been going on across the country. And what that's done is it's allowed every single person here in quarantine, a lot of time to think. And so I've been thinking a lot. I know that many of you have. And I'll be straight up with y'all in saying, like, quarantine has been tough for me. This is my family right here. Every single one of y'all, players, managers, parents, this is my family. I talked to Chris Franklin just the other day about the difference between last summer and this summer. Last June, we were at team camps. We were playing at Queen's University. We were going through and playing amazing competition and getting ready for this journey we were on. But this summer, we didn't do anything. And that's no one's fault. That's because of something that was taken from you, albeit smartly, unfairly. And so for us, what that's allowed me the chance to do is the following. For one, I've had to kind of reground myself, and I'm sure that many of you have done that as well. Being more there for Mrs. Marshall, being there with Trey's crazy behind, and Charlotte. You can't tell me nothing about Charlotte, y'all. That's my baby girl. She's near and dear to my heart. But being able to be a parent and a father means a lot, and being able to do that has really helped during this time of quarantine. But it's also given me a chance to think about what I was going to say today. And so what I want to boil today down to is the following. This ring represents three things that every single student, every single manager, every player, and every family member hold dear and value. Those three things are passion, grit, and love. Passion, grit, and love. And what you guys should know is that anybody can go to a jewelry store to buy a ring. Anybody can do that. Anybody could have something gifted to them. But these rings, young men, that you're about to put on your finger, these rings were earned. These rings, you needed to come out and you needed to demonstrate those three qualities in order to be successful. And so let's start by talking about passion. First of all, here's what I know about passion. You know that I'm a passionate guy. I care about the game. I love hard. If that gets me, bitten in the behind on the back end, that's the way it is. I just take it. But for you guys, what you guys should know is that you demonstrated this year and proved to every single person in our school that passion is cool. I know that it was annoying when you lost, when people would come up to y'all and say, "What happened at the game last night? How y'all lose to that team?" Now for families, you should never ask your child that. That is the stupidest question you could ask an athlete after a loss. So please do not do that ever. But they know it from kids here. And people question your passion. People all around the school, students, people all around the community, people who you didn't go to school with, people all around the state. Why are you so passionate? Why do you care so much? You're just a single A school. But what you need to remember about that is that you guys are winners. And winners focus on winning, and losers focus on winners. So every single person's eyes, with whatever they said, were actually just on you because they respected and admired your accomplishments. The second thing is grit. Man, this year we needed a lot of grit. We saw some dark days early in the season. 0-4, those were some dark times. But it was really awesome to see the grit of this team because you never gave up on one another. You never gave up on what we were trying to accomplish. And so for you guys, what you need to understand in terms of life lessons is that there is literally nothing you will experience in your life, in college, in work, when you are young men changing the world that will be something you can't relate back to these moments for. You can always look back to the fact that when you played Independence, after all that Christmas break of practice, you smacked them. A team that is a 4A state champion, you beat them. And you should be really proud of that. You should also remember that the first game of the season, you took a butt whooping. We can say it straight up. Some of you don't really want to remember that. It was a really ugly game. Parents, for those of you that were there, you remember they had fans on the court. It was the first time that they had ever opened up their gym for a home game when we played Piedmont Classical, and we took one bad. We took one to the chin that night. But here's why I love that game, and here's why I love talking about your grit so much. Because when we played John Holmes, I wasn't nervous at all. Not at all. We may have got the game to 5. They may have gone on their little run, clapping, people in the stands going wild, blah, blah, blah. Never nervous. Never. Now, if you guys know me, and players will be able to attest to this, families, I consider myself a paranoid neurotic, meaning that I never feel like we're successful enough. And that means that I can be really hard to play for sometimes. But as a result of your grit, your tenacity this season, young men, that's the result. That's why the ring is so special. So the first two reasons there, passion and grit. And just to go into the grit that Coach Serino has already talked about a little bit, your whole school is built on grit. Your whole program is built on grit. Whether it was the days of the t-shirts and the black shorts, losing every game by 30. Caleb Matthews is ducking his head because if he had known that, he probably wouldn't have come to Henderson Collegiate. He's laughing now because he's like, yeah, I probably wouldn't have come to Henderson Collegiate. But there's so many other examples of it. How about playing the hardest schedule in North Carolina out of conference? You're a single A school and you did that. the best public schools, the best private schools, the best prep schools, not necessarily going in always knowing that we were going to win, but knowing that going through that process and being gritty would lead to the ultimate goal. You've gone through state championship losses in heartbreaking fashion. You've lost brothers on the team in Elijah Brown, who was taken from you too soon. So there is no team that is more gritty than you. They don't exist. And that's a huge thing for you to take with you for the rest of your lives. Not just here playing basketball, but when you go to college and when you're young men who are changing the world. And the last one, and the one that I value the most, is love. Love, love, love. It took a lot of love this year. There were some times where there was some hate maybe a little bit. And that's okay. When you're a family, that's what's going to happen. Love is really important, guys. It's important for all aspects of your life. You got to love what you do. You embraced your passion and your purpose this year, and that's an enormous reason why you are successful. But what I want you guys to know about love is that it's literally impossible for someone to love you more than I do, aside from your parents. They're looking at me like, what was he talking about this week? Sometimes I probably love you more than your parents, and that's also okay. But for you guys, what you should know coming from me directly is that this year, I realized that I wasn't always the best coach for you. And I realized that whenever I was celebrating the seniors at our end of year team meeting back in April. Because when I was celebrating them, I realized that I had put the rings before relationships. And so I wish that I had celebrated certain people more. I wish that I had celebrated people like Jalen, like Cameron Somerville, like Marquise, like Josh Shea, because what they brought off the bench for you and in practice is what led to you being successful. I wish that I had celebrated people like Chris, people like Caleb Royster, people like Akiris, who were consistently at practice every single day, may not have always made the right play, but worked their hardest and as a result grew as men. And I wish that I had celebrated people like Boogie, and I wish that I had celebrated people like Charles more. But the reason I'm bringing that up isn't because I regret anything. I regret nothing, and I'm unapologetic about that. But now, going into this coming season, especially for those of you in the crowd of 21 and 22, you should know that you're going to be getting a coach that may not have different values, but is going to see you. All of you. And I'm doing that on purpose. Because I want us at the end of this year, especially for our seniors, to say, we were the best for one another. Now, the last thing that I want to wrap up with now that we've gone through the three parts. We've got passion, we've got grit, we've got love. I want to acknowledge this straight up. It ain't easy to win when you go to school here. Let me say that again one more time for everyone. It ain't here. And here's what I mean by that. Higher academic standards. Higher behavioral standards. More expected of you as a student athlete. No gym. No weight room. Technically, no home facility that's even close to here. There's all these things that you've had to overcome. But because you valued those three things, passion, grit, and love, you achieved your ultimate goals. And if there's anything that I want you to take away when you put this ring on your finger, it's that it doesn't matter right now where you are or what the circumstances may be. It matters about you and your mindset towards your success. If you're passionate, if you're gritty, and if you love one another and love what you do, then you will be successful in life. And that is more important than any ring you put on your finger. That's more important than any trophy up here, any basketball. We're about changing lives. I want to thank you guys. I want to thank the families right now for coming out. I want to thank the players for being such an important part of my life. You guys have made me a better man. And I can't thank you enough for that. Let's give it up for our state champions, ladies and gentlemen, one more time. See, I told y'all I had some stuff to say, but we got some overcast, so we're going to keep it moving.